Hey guys, I'm back with a video that is almost what everyone that does supply and delivery will be excited today to actually know. There are so many opportunities that some of you out there are missing out and not taking advantage of these opportunities that supply and delivery tenders. I do want to highlight that you find very complex supply and delivery, non-complex, and also unconventional ones. And I do want to give you guys a little plug today, so some of you can go actually find these opportunities and start winning big. We cannot all run to the same pot, right? We don't need to go to fetch the same bag, but some of us can go into other parts of the sectors, the industries, so we can have some market share and be making money. So I want to share with you, some of these missed opportunities that are always advertised. And more so, they offer repeat business, long-term contracts, 2, 3-year, 5-year contracts even. Yeah, believe it or not. I saw one, I think Eskom advertised for some nuts and bolts. And it was like, for 4 years, all you just do is to deliver nuts and bolts to one particular plant. Can you imagine? So let's get on to this video. All right, the first one, let's talk electrical accessories and network spares. So the likes of telecommunication companies, they are continuously ordering network spares and replacement of electrical components and accessories. Guys, when I share with you tender opportunities, I don't just refer to government. Can you guys take out that mindset? Look at the broader picture. Service happens across industries, municipalities, private companies, government, of course, right? And there are other big companies out there that also need to spend with small businesses, and they need these things now. Do you understand? And some of them, they win big contracts as, companies that are doing maybe machining, maintenance, and all of that. They need to order somewhere, and you can provide them the service. So let's not think, when you think of supply and delivery, it's only related to e-tenders. No, let's widen our scope, guys. So I did say electrical accessories and network spares, telecommunications, IT companies. This is where they need a lot of these. So if you supply them, you can have repeat business, or in fact, even 3-year contract, just supplying this. One plug. 2, pipes, fittings, and small plant spares. Water pumps, guys, there are water projects across the country. Many pumps that are required everywhere. And also where there's maintenance work done, remember, that means it is repeat purchases. Because each time there's a maintenance, that means they need new part, new spares. You follow the logic. So now you need to offer and look into how can I supply, these fittings or plant spares, right? Niche parts, guys, like grass cutting machines as well. Grass cutting machines, I also mentioned in my Instagram video that, it's something that you can take for granted. But if you actually think about how many projects are happening across the country, let's not think only Gauteng or KZN only, if you are, of course, staying in these places and residing there, or Mpumalanga. There are many places where there's projects, landscape projects. I did do a video earlier this year that's one of the, low barriers of entry businesses can look into as beginners. Gardening services, even churches, like commercialized churches like Borema, Rivers, Grace, big churches. They offer garden, or rather they need garden services, not offer. So who is doing the servicing of those things? You can supply them because it breaks all the time, So they are very unconventional but quite needed. And then another thing is water treatment chemicals. Let's say water is an issue in other parts of this country. Bloemfontein always has water opportunities or water projects. They're even short of suppliers for that matter. So now There are a few companies that are providing chemicals that do water purification and all of that as well that you can look into. If you go further to Limpopo, you can't drink the water, the deeper parts of the villages. Us who are in the suburbs and the urban areas, you go there with bottled water. And there are water projects in the very same, regions. And it's an opportunity that you can look into. And I trust and believe government, institutions, and even the mines themselves, they do need to produce clean water for the communities that they're mining at, or close to at least. It is their task to take care of that very same community. So you can supply that. Ne? Look into such. And the other one I want to mention, guys, it is valves and fittings, for water utility and utility networks. This is quite important. Again, there's pipeline upgrades, there's repair work, there's steady orders. So each time there's a repair work, there's checks, you can supply that. I mentioned electrical spares, right? So these are some of the very non-complex but doable. It's also supply and delivery. Remember, supply and delivery, you just want to make your money, exit the business. Cool, fast and easy. Well, easy in terms of, you just get it and deliver, and that's it. Watch my other video where I did say avoid these mistakes so that you don't get yourself in that web. Ne? Now let's talk medical consumables as another one. Gloves, masks, cotton wool, plasters, sanitizers. These get regularly advertised because why? Hospitals need these every single day. Medical industry needs this every day. I know some of them are bought in China, but you can buy them from China or wherever, right? And then supply them. Clinics, they need such. There are privately owned institutions in the health space that need these consumables. Remember I said, don't just look at e-tenders and National Treasury and our minds is just close to that. No. If you actually look at these privately owned clinics in the semi-suburb places, privately owned. I recently learned of an institution that exists where people go and give birth. It's not a private company. It's not like a private hospital, but it's like in between. It's a labor, they call it, labor clinic of some sort. So you just go there to book for labor, you pay, that's it. You see how many people actually start to think of ideas. And they also need medical consumables. I'm not even talking equipment, because medical equipment is more technical. There's requirements, that you must meet. Your vehicles must have this and that. Inside is a very specialized type of vehicle. But the consumables, somebody cotton, woolly glove, you can deliver that. So that's something that's also very non-complex. And now I'm moving into showing you guys which other opportunities you can look at that are advertised but missed by SMMEs in terms of the supply and delivery, right? I know most of us are quite familiar with stationery. We're quite familiar with printing, and sometimes printing, it also depends. What are you printing? Are you printing large format? Large format doesn't really have a lot of players. I'm not talking printing your paper, like small office papers and books and stuff. But if you look at large format, like billboards type of printing, large format, like promotional items, big stuff. Even there, you can still play. There's a big market. Because remember, those are also revolving and recurring. Once the ad is done, we move on. Once the promotional campaign is done, move on. We need a new one. Right? So that's something else you can look into. And then cleaning consumables and chemicals. Of course, this we are much familiar with. We are aware. But also remember, detergents, mops, toilet papers, refuse bags, sanitizers, always high in demand, especially in municipalities and hospitals, clinics, and this cuts across, in fact, to be honest, schools, right? And don't forget to please provide service to private schools. I can see private schools how they source, Mara. I want to believe they are looking for black companies, because a lot of them, their BEE is not transformed, yeah? Honestly. So, attack those private schools and start supplying them. You'll thank me. And now let's talk Uniform and protective clothing and PPE. PPE was quite popular when it was during COVID because narrated the sanitizer, masks and all of that, This protective equipment, very important. But even today, if you supply protective equipment to the construction sites, fella, you'll milk it. Those guys, every day, they need to comply with the requirements of being on site. So the boots, those heads, reflectors, and all the other things that are required on site, please, now you can start thinking, where else can I provide this where work is done outdoors? There are so many projects, not just construction projects. You can start thinking like that and start supplying these. The ladies that I interviewed here, Boaus Tabi, they mentioned that's how they started their business. In fact, they approached this particular contractor and said, hey, your people on site, what do they need? This is what we can do. So it's some of the things that we guys can do besides only focusing on the government side, but these are other places you can look at where you can do your supply and delivery. I mean, overalls, school uniforms, even uniforms for the flight attendants. The other day I did a video where I was telling people to look at SAA. SAA always advertise tenders for uniform, staff uniform. I don't even know what happens to the staff uniform, to be fair, whether people change a lot or after some time they dispose them. But trust and believe, SAA is always sourcing for uniforms. So that's something else that you can look into. Now you can imagine if SAA then is looking for what happens to other airlines. Monang uniform you can supply. Okay? And these are obviously the easy peasy ones, guys. Office furniture and equipment, straightforward. This you can do for desks, chairs, cupboards, cabinets, newly built clinics. The other industry that's also almost forgotten is, developments, new developments. They have so much opportunity there. Developers, if you can align yourself with property developers, you can actually supply quite a bit when they identify new sites that they need to develop there. One, they don't have cleaners for the most part. And even after they build those houses, there isn't a service much now where you can come and do proper cleaning, for example, before the owners take occupation. I don't know if you can regard this as a supply and deliver. Mara, I just thought of this idea. But you get, right? Yeah. And of course, there's grocery and catering consumables. So in terms of, IT equipment, peripherals in the space, your mouses, your pouch, your bags, and watches, smart watches and all of that. That's easy peasy way of going for it. And these are happening all the time because there can also be gifts, right? Some companies buy them because of gifts. So this video, guys, is intended to really just say, when you're doing supply and delivery, look at the technical ones, unconventional, and the easy, straightforward one. I know the ones that I just spoke about now, most of you are familiar with. But why they became familiar? Somebody saw an opportunity to start making it a market. But the ones that I said and I spoke about earlier, most of us don't always regularly think about. And again, there used to be a big deal within the telecom space where people used to steal batteries. They're by the network sites where they put a tower. They have a battery there because I guess there's no electricity there. So they need batteries to power that tower. And people were stealing those batteries. And guess what? They were always ordering. I think Green-Tech is actually the main supplier in South Africa in terms of an accreditation perspective and their certifications and requirements. They meet all of that. They managed to create their market and the niche for them. So you can buy from Green-Tech, then you supply. This is obviously in the outskirts, for you to be able to supply the batteries. Not just that, even batteries for like gate motors, batteries for garage doors and all the other batteries that are required in the functioning of the business. Bon, you will kill it. So let me know, what are you supplying? Someone else, if I commented on my Instagram video the other day when I posted some of these things and said that, there's a niche market also, which is kind of a little bit difficult to enter. But once you are in, you make real big bucks. This person said which I'm sharing here. I do find the comment quite good. Chemical and oil spillage services. This market has money. And somewhere you can go and clean blood after accidents. Obviously, you must have biohazard remediation companies that gives you the chemicals and all of that for the cleanups if you're not afraid of such things. But it's a business. You can actually supply some of these and be that person. If you think, accidents happen every day, ambulance is always out there, stuff happens on the road, what can you supply? Trust and believe. Even tires, is another one. Yeah. Refuse bags, another one that is being underrated. So today, the point is, look into small wins, low effort, repetitive buys, and that gives you sustainable business for the next 2, 3, or even 4 to 5 years. Some of these are really easy, but some of them are not. However, they are doable. Bolts and nuts are a thing. Machining businesses, equipment, you can supply that. Specific cutters, you can supply that. And you will win. That's it for today's video. Let me know if you did enjoy this video. Say yes. These are obviously for beginners, and sometimes you don't have to be a beginner. You just need to have an extra income and know what is it that I can do to create, another form of income. This is another option you can look into and start doing business. And follow through to my website if you need to know how to do bidding and responding to a bid. Pricing, use my bid pricing calculator, guys. It's going to help you a lot in supply and delivery. And yeah, leave a comment down below and subscribe. Please subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next video. Cheers.